Hey there, guys. This is like my third take today because I kept snafooing with the optimizer as I was setting it up. Some would stack, some wouldn't stack. And then, it's just not good for video to keep making mistakes like that. So now that I've sort of lost all of my enthusiasm and all of my luster, I'm just going to give it to you straight, which is typically what I do. If you are the type of player that just wants to hear it and hear it honestly and transparently, then you need to be a member at dfsarmy.com. It's that simple. You use the coupon code CHOP, CHOP, get the coupon, get in here, start talking to me. I put over 2 hours worth of talk into the beginners channel yesterday. I put videos out for people all the time. I promise you, nobody's going to dig into your game and help you the way I personally will. That's not to bash on any of the other coaches at DFS Army, but nobody puts the time into your game like I will. That said, let's talk a little bit about setting up Week 14 NFL in the optimizer, because this is what we talked about yesterday. Everybody has projections. People that are digging into stats are so 2015. It's over for you. You're behind the curve, man. The 20 hours a week that we used to spend finding stats to lead us to key players, that's over. Projections have solved that. You're not going to find the one stat that says he ties his right shoe before his left shoe, therefore he has an advantage today. And if you do, that advantage that you just found is so freaking small, it doesn't pay off the 20 hours of research that you did to find it. You're better off taking that 20 hours a day. If you're a true aspiring professional in DFS, you're better off taking that 20 hours a week and putting it into backtesting optimizers, studying what has worked in the past, studying how to manipulate these optimizers to generate the types of lineups that win these tournaments, finding the trends, finding the patterns. Do they stack? Do they not stack? How much do they stack? Do they run it back with an opponent? Do they stack with quarterbacks and running backs? Do they only use wide receivers? Do they use 3 and then 2 run backs, or 3 and 0 run backs? Do they run all these things? Do they use 3 uniques or 5 uniques, or do they use 10% randomness or 50% randomness? These are the things you need to be testing. And you can easily do it with backtesting features on these optimizers these days, and a little bit of results that you already know from the tournament in the past. If you want to enter a nickel a day, then you can get all the scores to the nickel GPP, or you can go free to other sites and look at the scoreboards. They have them up there. You have to do that work, though. If you want to win what other people have won, you have to be willing to work like they have. And I'm telling you how they're doing it right now. But they're not putting all these shackles and chains on these optimizers either and bogging them down with all these rules and all these restrictions. No, they're running them wide open. Why? If I build 150 lineups, I don't want 150 lineups committed to the same 5 or 6 players. I don't want them being too dependent on the same core of players. Maybe in NBA that works, but in the other sports it doesn't. You need to diversify. You need to spread out. I'm going to start writing an article, I think, about diversification and why it's important. But you need those 150 lineups to work independent of each other, not together. You need the lineup itself to work together. It needs to be correlated, stacked, whatever. But the lineup 1, lineup 2, lineup 3, lineup 4, lineup 5 need to be different. And the reason why is you're trying to beat 50 to 100 to 500,000 people, and you need the freaky deaky to work for you. You need different combinations to make that happen. These optimizers like what they like. And if you build 150 lineups, you're going to get guys at 60, 70% owned in your batch. And again, that might be okay for NBA. That is not good for hockey. That is not good for baseball. That is not good for PGA. Oh, but I want to take a strong stand. Screw that, man. What you want to do is spread out. If your core smashes, you did well. And I see the lineup trains in the nickel, and the guy had 100 nickel lineups that were all the same lineup, and he got in the top. Guess what? I never hear from that guy ever again. Enjoy your $80. You're gone. So what your better bet is to accomplish learning how to manipulate these optimizers and building 150 different lineups, unique lineups that act independently of each other and can catch the scenario that'll get you to the top. Who cares about the other lineups? They're dead money. Who cares? Yeah, some are going to cash and whatnot, but you're looking for the damned win. That's what pays you. The only way you can win these tournaments these days, these top-heavy, crazy tournaments these days, the only way to make them long-term plus EV is to win one. Even if you finish 3rd place, you are a long-term net loser in these contest structures. You cannot recoup enough money of the entry fees by placing 3rd. You have to win one. To win one, you have to build independent lineups. Here's how you do it. You're going to want to cap your players. And by doing that, you can set up stacking systems. Let's use legacy stacking. Super easy at dfsarmy.com. I take the position of quarterback. I say, no less than 2 players, because I've back tested and I know that a 3x0 is the way to go. 3x1 also works. What's 3x0? 3x0 is quarterback, 2 pass catchers. Most people are going to say pass catchers, a receiver, and a tight end. Most people don't realize that even Josh Jacobs catches passes. The guys that don't, your Eli Mitchells, your Derrick Henrys, your Nick Chubbs, those guys don't catch, so they won't be in there. The projections know that. I don't have to do that anymore. The projections know that. They're not going to put them in very many of my lineups. And even then, Buffalo, who can't run the ball for stink, I think early this year had Zach Moss or Devin Singletary or somebody catch 2 touchdown passes in week 1, whatever it was. So it does happen. And if you're going to win a big GPP, you're going to need to have the possibility of having that in your batch of lineups. It may not be in there, but at least you're giving yourself the possibility. And you do that by including the running back. Most people won't do that. So you're automatically unique. When you get a quarterback running back stack like Dak and Zeke, you're already pretty unique because most people won't do that. They don't know. They haven't done the research. They haven't put in the time. They don't realize that this does work. You add that rule. Now, if you want to run it back with a player from the opposing team, you can. I don't. Why not? The optimizer is going to include some of those for me anyway. The optimizer knows the games that are high totals, like the Buffalo-Tampa game. It knows the games that could shoot out. It already knows with projections which teams or which players are going to be in good positions. So it's going to give me the runbacks in those games. It's not going to give me any runbacks in this game or in this game. It's just not. So why force it? I don't want to force a bad scenario onto myself, right? The odds of that Seattle-Houston game shooting out are terrible. Don't even include it. This is where you'll take a chance. I'm going to cover some bases and spread out, but I'm not going to be stupid about it, right? So I'm going to cover space. I'm going to start with a stack. If I need to, I'll come back and I'll limit teams. I'll limit to 3 per team or 2 per team or something like that. If I limit to 2 per team, though, I crush my stacks. My stack's going to have 3 people in it. I can't do that. But I can limit to 3 per team. And I can use but I'm not going, I want 20% of this guy in this stack and 20% of this guy in this stack. No, I'm running it wide open. If it likes the guy, it likes the guy. Okay? I use tournament mode. You've seen me talk about that, I hope. 3 unique players. I always run one against my defense. It may use it. It may not. I'm giving it the option. I'm going to run about 70% receivers. This is just ballpark, just to give me some mix. These are caps. It can use any amount at once. It's just not going to use more than 70% receivers in the flex. I'm build 50 lineups, let's say, and I love me some randomness. Again, talk to me inside about why and how and all that good stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread out by putting a giant cap on my players. 30% max. Now I can go back if I like a guy and make him 40% or make him 60% or whatever. I can do that, but by and large, my default setting is 30, and that's that. And then I go into the quarterbacks and I crap them down even more. Why? This forces me to take more offenses. See, once it hits the 15% cap, the optimizer has to go looking for another quarterback to use. It has to go find me another stack. If I have it on 30%, it's going to get me 3 or 4 quarterbacks that it likes. If I have it on 15%, it's going to give me 6, 7, or 8 quarterbacks that I like. With quarterbacks being as diverse and when watered down as they are, yeah, you got guys that can occasionally go for 40, but most of them score in the 20% range. It's about the piece that goes off with them more than it is the quarterback. But everything revolves around the quarterback. I can control my team exposures with my quarterback. That's why I cap them down even further. This is where I get my spread. Plus, 15% of the quarterbacks and 30% of the players allows the players to appear as one-offs in a lot of those different lineups. And that's what I want. I want Kamara as a one. I don't want him completely tied to Taysom Hill, right? And caveat for this week, week 14, caveat for this week, Taysom Hill should probably be run naked in a lot of your lineups. And to do that, you're going to have to run a second batch. You're going to run 100 lineups, with Taysom Hill naked and then 50 with him stacked 20% of the time, or something like that, and get like 10 stacks. You might have 80 lineups of Taysom Hill naked with all these one-offs and all these mini stacks and whatever else in these lineups, and then you might have, Taysom Hill stacked with maybe, 10 lineups or something like that of your 150. That's okay. And this is a weird week for that. But when you've got to recognize when those weeks are possible, and you've got to know how to set up the optimizer to do that, because that's what's going to make the difference between how many of your lineups get into the winner's circle and how many don't. Because a lot of them are going to fall short in min cash and whatever else, and that's okay too. That every little bit helps. But again, we're gunning for the win. And if Taysom Hill is in the winning lineup this week, I'm going to bet you he's not stacked. I'm going to bet you he's running naked. You're going to want to set yourself up to at least have that option. So once I've got these guys capped down to 15% and 30% on the rest of the players, I let the optimizer run. And as the optimizer runs, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to look and see what I might make changes to. But the main thing is, I'm like, okay, it's got a lot of Javonte Williams in there. If I don't want that much, I'll cap him down further to say 20%, right? If I don't want that much Jared Cook, whatever. This all doesn't matter. This is all where your personal leanings take over. You got Taysom Hill with Kamara, and that may or may not work because Kamara and Taysom Hill tend to, they cannibalize each other to a degree. But it is the Jets, so it may work this week. Traquan Smith, okay, you didn't run it back with any Jets. Why? The chances the Jets put up an Elijah Moore type might not be that high. Mike Williams and Jared Cook in the same lineup, fine. Jarvis Landry is apparently a value play. Whatever. This all works. Justin Herbert in there with Mike Williams and Jared Cook. Notice no Austin Eckler. He'll be in some. Now this would bug me. 4 Chargers with no Herbert would bug me. Because Eckler, Palmer, Jared Cook, and Mike Williams all going off without Justin Herbert having a huge day, this lineup's dead. This lineup's trash. So I need to go back and I need to change some settings to give me better lineups, because that automatically rules this batch out to me. But if I keep looking for him, there's an Eckler with Justin Herbert. So it'll give me some. It's not giving me a ton, right? I'm not all in on Eckler with Justin Herbert. But think about what that does with a pass catcher like an Eckler with a Herbert. It gives you a floor. It's good for cash games or leagues or whatever, because you've covered if the Chargers score 40 points, you've got every single way they can score except the kicker and the defense. If Mike Williams has a great day, big deal. Justin Herbert had a lot of the pieces of that too, right? So you didn't miss out on much. If Austin Eckler had a great day, you got a lot of that offense. Justin Herbert may not have had a great day, but what if Justin Herbert threw him a pass or two? He's going to catch 6 balls or something like that usually. So they're going to have floors together. They do work together. That's the point. And once I go through and I review that situation, I may put some limits on some of those players. I may boost some guys. I may want to see, like I look down here and I say, okay, I want more Gronkowski. So what do I need to do? I need to go up into the player pool here into Rob Gronkowski. I need to boost his projection, get him to pull into more of my lineups, right? Because that's what's going to make the difference. I mean, I could put a minimum on him here of 20%, but I also could just leave him alone and go boost his projections from 15 points to, say, 18 points. I don't care, he can't score 18. I don't care what the number is. What I care is what it's doing to the optimizer, what it's doing inside the optimizer, how much of a percentage I have of Rob Gronkowski. That's what I care about. I don't care if I have to put the number at 40 to get that to happen. I'm not saying Gronk's going to score 40 points. I'm saying I need to say he's going to score 40 to get the optimizer to use him at 25% or whatever. That's what matters. And again, you're trying to shuffle these guys up. You're trying to diversify your lineups, spread way out, and take lots and lots and lots of unique combinations of players. Because when you do that, you give yourself more cracks at the nuts, rather than being so pigeonholed and so concentrated on just a few options that everything rises and falls together. You don't want them rising and falling together. Why do you think your stock guy tells you to diversify your portfolio? Take little pieces of this and little pieces of this and little pieces of this. Yeah, you're going to have 40% of Coca-Cola, and you're going to have 2% of that little international startup company out there somewhere, and hope it hits a home run and becomes the next Amazon. You're going to have different variations of speculative versus large core holdings. This is mutual funding for DFS. It's exactly what you're doing. You're setting up, okay, I really, really like Justin Herbert. I really, really like Tom Brady this week, or I really, really like Taysom Hill. They're going to be a core holding of mine. They're going to be in 30 to 40% of my lineups. But somebody like Robbie Anderson may be in 2% of my lineups, because he's just not going to go off that often. But when he does, I want to have pieces of him. And I want him correlated or in a one-off of one of my big stacks. And that's how you weave these things together and, again, give yourself winning chances. And if you need more information about how to do this, you need me. You need me in dfsarmy.com. It's that simple. Coupon code SHOP, CHOP. Get the 10% off discount. I'll spend hours and hours talking to you like I did the guys yesterday. I'll make you these little videos, custom to you even sometimes. I will help you get better. Period. End of story. Week 14, have a good time, guys, and hopefully I see you at the top of the leaderboards, but just under me. Peace.